All right, so breathing is obviously important. You can't survive without breathing, but there's actually also breathing techniques that can measurably change what's happening in your body, heart rate, stress response, even focus. And I know a lot of people like to dismiss this with the classic, haha, breathing techniques like I breathe every day. I know how to breathe. But that's like saying I know how to wash my hands. But on your first day of general surgery rotation, they'll show you how to actually scrub and wash your hands. How long to do it, where to go, and what you've been missing the whole time. So I think breathing is kind of the same way. You've been doing it your whole life, but not necessarily well, and definitely not intentionally. And these kind of intentional techniques for breathing show up in a lot of places. Basketball players, when they exhale as they shoot a free throw, I think my form is bad because of this mic, but snipers exhaling before pulling the trigger. Even working out at the gym, when you inhale versus when you exhale actually affects stability and force in your muscles. So these aren't random habits. They're actual techniques that you can learn and that they work. There's also a lot of claims in this space that are more nonsensical. So I'm going to go through what's real, what has a physiological basis, and you could sort through the rest.
Welcome to Medicine Made Simple.
All right, so before I get into the positive breathing techniques like box breathing, I'm going to talk about some stuff about when breathing goes wrong. So my example is going to be hyperventilating. You've seen this in movies when, they kind of are panicking or stressed out about stuff. They'll grab that brown paper lunch bag from 1988 and start breathing into it, and you see it inflate and deflate as they breathe forcefully and quickly, and that calms them down. So anyways, I'm not going to talk about the lunch bag anymore, but that kind of over breathing when you can't really, you're panicking, you're breathing out too much carbon dioxide. So obviously you breathe in for oxygen and you breathe out more carbon dioxide, opposite of plants. But why does breathing out more carbon dioxide make you feel worse? So when your CO2 drops too low, you get symptoms like feeling lightheaded and some tingling and stuff. But the bigger thing is that you get that I can't get a full breath type of feeling. So you breathe even faster and you get stuck in that feedback loop. So that's the key idea. There's two things right now. So top down and bottom up, I'm going to call them. So if someone's kind of hyperventilating, you can try to calm them down, like relax or like stop stressing or just breathe. So that's top down. You're trying to corral the brain into controlling the body. This doesn't work great because you're already in a panic mode. That's why that paper bag in the example above that I was talking about, because it kind of traps the carbon dioxide and makes you breathe that in, which isn't great also. But my analogy here is going to be the top down versus bottom up is smiling. So if you think about smiling, when you feel good, you smile. That's a top down thing, right? You're feeling good, so you have that physical smile. But it also works the other way. If you're feeling bad and you force a smile, even if it's that kind of size smile, your mood actually improves. So that's a bottom-up approach where even though you're not feeling good, you can feel better by creating that smiling effect, which changes the body and makes your brain follow. So I want to apply that to breathing. So that works the same way. If you start breathing quickly, it tells your brain we're in danger and revs up some of your systems, your heart rate and things like that. The opposite also, if you do slow, controlled breathing, it tells your brain like you're safe and, kind of gives you more calm way. So if you're applying this to stress, you can't really think your way out of stress a lot of times, but you can breathe your way out of it sometimes. So that's going to bring us into the next segment, which is going to be about box breathing, which is a technique that's pretty simple and will help kind of take control of that system. All right, I'm going to do now this section on actual box breathing. I'm going to talk about the standard method, which is an actual box. I'll put a graphic, hopefully I can get, for 4 seconds each. So there's variants of this. There's like a 4-2, 5-2. You'll hear some things in different pranayama methodologies, things like that. But box breathing, the structured, simple one is you inhale for 4 seconds. Then before you exhale, you hold for 4 seconds. You exhale, then you hold it again. So there's a deliberate pause after the inhale and after the exhale, and you just keep repeating this. So I'll just do one real quick. Inhale for 4 seconds. So then you keep repeating it. So it's kind of like putting your breathing on rails. And this is the bottom up kind of approach I was saying before. If you just do this kind of breathing thing, your body will like physically slow down because you can't hyperventilate. These pauses break that panic rhythm of the constant in out, and it controls the exhale, which is, like I said, the most important part here. When I talked about shooting free throws in the intro, shooting guns, and I forgot what my third example was. Going to the gym, so kind of those things of when you exhale, it's really kind of sending those signals to the from the body to the brain. So you get all these things, and it just tells your brain to be calm. So you can try it right now. I'm not gonna say anything. You can pause the video or something, or go find another video that does box breathing. But you should notice the shift pretty quickly if you do this 4-second inhale, 4-second holding before you then 4-second exhale, and then again hold. So I think it's fairly easy, and there's nothing mystical. The physiology of this is that your heart rate starts to slow, your CO2 levels stabilize, and you kind of just become calmer. And it's not doing anything new. It's not tricking your nervous system or activating your vagus nerve or whatever people want to mysticize it or make it sound more scientific. It is scientific, but it's just forcing your body back into the pattern it uses when it's calm. So it is that bottom-up approach, and it says, hey, this, based on the signals I'm getting from the body, we should calm down. And it works, so you should try it out. All right, so now that you know what box breathing is, maybe you've tried it, maybe you're still a skeptic. Either way, it doesn't matter. So, but what is it actually good for? It's not something you're going to be doing all the time. Should you do it once a day, whatever? I think a big one is acute stress or anxiety. The biggest thing, like if you're about to give a presentation, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're starting to spiral, this will really bring you down a notch. Like it won't cure your anxiety or anything, but it will reduce the intensity in that moment. And that's pretty clear. So if you have this kind of box breathing technique in your tool belt, it's something that you should utilize at those times. Same thing for focus and performance. I talked about sports, free throws, golf swing for those older folks or business folks who are trying to be cool. High pressure environments too. Just breathing. I know there's a really good Scrubs, the old Scrubs, the original, when JD and Elliot are talking about the train wreck codes in the hospital. And how, if you just stop and breathe, it like the episode turns into kind of slow motion, and it's a pretty cool one. I think copyright, I can't add that clip, but you should go look for it. And the other last thing I'll say for it is for sleep. I hear a lot of people say they can't turn their brain off. They have a tough time sleeping at night even though they're tired. Of course, they're also on their phones with that bright light shining in their face for an hour and a half playing, mindless games. But this type of sleeping can also shift you to a calmer mode to get you resting. It's not going to cure insomnia, but it is really useful for that transition into sleep. And so, I think, again, just kind of frame this not as a treatment, not as a hack or anything. It's more a tool to regulate yourself and be more calm. It's not, I'm just going to hit on it briefly. It's not like any oxygen myth. There's no detoxing happening, and any vagus nerve hacks. You could watch that video that I made. But I think that's really, those are kind of just over sensationalizing it. But if you can have this technique, it's still a really strong one.